Welcome to Cinemagope, everybody. I'm Ben.
I'm Scotty R37.
I'm Karate Action Ben.
And I'm John. And this is our favorite R-rated action film.
Moving on to Scotty's number 4 R-rated action movie.
Well, if you guys don't want to talk about Die Hard, I will.
Nice.
Die Hard. Well, first things first, let's get the elephant in the room out of the butter. Best Christmas movie of all time. That is my position. If you please at me.
Ben, we have a video he should watch where we did our best Christmas videos.
Yeah. It's a terrible Halloween movie, I'll say that much.
Thank you, Ben. Agreed. I love it. And again, coming back to the everyman and the survival instinct of being able to go in and rescue the princess and take down the evil person. And it is, you could even put it somewhere in The Raid or Dread in terms of a tower action confined space. I think the performances are fantastic. It's lightning in a bottle based on a novel that could have been derailed by Frank Sinatra's ego.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much about this movie with John McTiernan coming off of Predator, and just there's an action director at the height of his game with Die Hard.
1 year removed from Predator.
And his follow-up film to those two, Hunt for Red October, a true classic in my opinion as well.
Obviously, the late great Alan Rickman, Bonnie Bedelia, Reginald VelJohnson, Bruce Willis, of course, the launch of his career, moonlighting notwithstanding. And again, it's a classic, not just because of it being one of the best action movies of the 80s, but also because of the controversy as to the time of year in which it takes place. Is it a Christmas movie? Is it not a Christmas movie? I just know it's in rotation every December 24th at my place. So I do include it. And it's that sentimentality as well as the bloody violence and swearing. And there's nudity. There's something you don't get very often in an action movie nowadays. Hardcore nudity.
That's the epitome of gratuitous too, when they just break into that office and a girl's boobs are just there.
Are you saying you can't have sex at a Christmas party? That's part of the fun.
There's people doing blow at that party. There's all kinds of crazy shit going on.
I really like it. I like it a lot.
I like it a lot.
That is the first time that I ever saw squibs blow out of a guy's kneecaps, and I was like, oh.
John Wick from 2014 is my number 4 pick. The original John Wick. I prefer the original John Wick because it's a much simpler revenge story. And I'm a fan of the series, but to be honest, with each new chapter, this whole criminal underground thing just gets like a little sillier. Yeah. And what I really like about John Wick is how based in reality it is. You guys brought it up when I mentioned The Raid earlier, and I feel like it's a polished Raid. It's really a good-looking film. It's shot great. It's got great music, great performances. The fight choreography is next level. What The Raid said, like, hey, this is how you can do an action film. John Wick said, this is how you all should do an action film. Like it's set this brand new level of what a fight scene can be. He makes the gun feel like an extension of his body when he fights, and he can just go right from blocking a punch, breaking your arm, to blowing your fucking brains out like it's, like butter or what have you, man. It's smooth as hell. They're just some of the best fight scenes I've ever seen in those films, and I just love the one because it's just a simple, gritty, I gotta get my revenge kind of movie, and it's awesome.
The first one's the best because you don't know what he's capable of until the reveal of what he does to that mass of people in that club. And that's where you see that fighting style where it's like, as soon as he gets you locked and he's holding that gun in one hand, he's doing all the kung fu stuff. But when he gets you locked, your head is gone. He's just going to blow your head off. I agree with you, Ben, that those fighting scenes are fucking so well choreographed and interesting.
Oh, I was going to say he was doing it all for his dog, which makes that the first one the best.
Totally. Yeah, that's true. One, I love that they keep the through line of him loving dogs and they give him dogs later on. But the first one, yeah, the fact that it's about the dog.
Well, and it makes it much more a visceral revenge plot. Like, you do understand that his wife has died. The last thing that he's ever loved is the dog that she gave him on her deathbed, essentially, right?
Yeah, and they give you just enough time to realize that and feel that, you know.
And then when the dog is gone, like, first things first, like, I'm sure the first studio note on that film was, do we have to kill the dog?
Puppy. Not a dog,
Puppy.
a puppy.
A puppy.
That's
But,
double
like,
downing right there.
If the bad guys kill a dog, the audience will go anywhere your hero is going as well.
Keanu Reeves, I feel he's a good actor. I feel he does better with certain directors, and he maybe has some limits as an actor all the same. But I don't feel those limits are reached in a John Wick film, or most of his filmography for that matter. I think it's one of the best stylistic action films ever made, and he's definitely the right man for the job.
Yeah.
Well, if you've seen any of those videos of him actually training on the shooting range and
He's
how
a
quickly he
fucking
moves from
badass.
different weapons, reloads, all that stuff, that's what impressed me. Like the John Wick movie, I enjoyed it, but I think I saw that video afterwards and realized how realistic not just, okay, you practice some stunts, like he can do this in the real world if he needed to. Essentially, he could be a real action hero. So I was just that much more impressed. And as the films have gone along and the things he's pulled off from film to film, I know he's really doing it, so it makes it that much cooler.
Yes.
You guys want to talk about Die Hard some more?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about Die Hard 2.
Oh,
The hardest of the Die Hard sequels. I'm sorry, the harder of the Die Hard
Die
sequels.
Harder. That's what it's called. How can the same thing happen to the same guy twice?
Well, it does. But it doesn't. It is different. That's one thing I really like about Die Hard 2. I think there is enough difference to it, even though we were talking about a lot of films that are labeled as that Die Hard knockoff that came in the years. It took a while for them to start putting those out. It really took till after Die Hard 2 that you got this wealth of Passenger 57, Under Siege, Speed. I'm sorry, Ben. One that I almost put on this list, Jean-Claude's one at the hockey rink.
The hockey game.
I love that one. I fucking love that
what's that
one.
called? Yeah, the hockey game one.
Sudden
I
Death.
almost put it on
Sudden
the list.
death. Sudden death.
Sudden Death. I almost did a list of 5 Die Hard knockoffs, but I think Die Hard 2, it could have taken the route that any of those films did because there wasn't all these other knockoffs yet. So it could have said, let's keep it simple and put them on a boat. Let's keep it simple and put them in a plane.
He's in a mall this time, kids.
In a mall, at an amusement park. I don't know. There could have been a number of things. And this, at an airport, it just doesn't seem like the obvious choice, but they do a lot of great stuff with it to still keep it to feel like an enclosed location that he obviously could leave it and walk out of it, unlike the building that he couldn't, but they keep him tied to it because of his wife in the sky in the airplane. And I just think that's really ingenious. And I think the way that they play up the stakes of him, her being trapped in this plane in the sky hovering above and doesn't know how they're going to get her down. Once they crash that other plane filled with, little old grandmas from England and just
and little
crash
kids
it right into the ground.
Yeah, and little kids. That's gnarly.
I mean, that's such a gnarly scene and just really raises the stakes once that scene plays out for every plane in the sky. And so I really think it's a really creative sequel to Die Hard. It's a great setup for a sequel. I think it's not as good as the first film, but literally no film is as good as the first one when you're talking about this kind of standard action film. So Rennie Harlin directed this one. I think he did a great job. I think Bruce is still a hell lot of fun. He still really is pulling off the character really well. The whole supporting cast is a ton of fun. The bad guy's great. Who's that?
William Sadler. Yeah.
All right. Yes.
William Sadler's butt is
We do get some extended nudity of William Sadler.
Sadler's butt. That scene is there to show you that your new villain is a more formidable physical foe to John McClane than, because there's no physicality of John McClane with Hans Gruber. It's all like a wits game,
Mm-hmm.
This one, they're gonna fight. They're gonna fight as soon as you see him doing naked Tai Chi.
bloody scenes like stabbing the guy through the eye with
The icicle.
Love it.
Getting sucked into the plane turbine and stuff. There's some wonderful kills in the movie. So I've always thought a lot of people talk down Die Hard 2 or even a lot of the sequels in the series to some degree, and that the first one really is on a pedestal that no other very films at all can get to. But I think the second one is a really great sequel, and it could have taken the easy route and picked one of these, like put him just on a plane or whatever. But I think it's a great setting for Die Hard 2.
Funny, we're all on our number 4s.
Yes.
Scotty, John, Die Hard 1, Die Hard 2. Guess what mine is?
Die Hard 3?
Die Hard 3.
Nice.
I've told John this a million times. It's the return of the great John McTiernan, by the way. And like Die Hard 1, Die Hard 3 it's just the tightest of tight scripts. It's so the way it moves and keeps its pacing to perfection. It's just a testament to the direction, the editing, the cinematography, the stunt choreography. They spent the most money on 3. I mean, up until that point, before they, the 4th one came out. I don't think they spent anything on the 5th one. I don't even think that's a Die Hard movie. One thing I love so much about this movie, well, I love a lot of stuff, but the full circle effect. A lot of people talk about this. This was supposed to wrap up the trilogy, and obviously it did for like 11 or 12 years. The full circle effect of a trilogy comes to a head in the 3rd one, where it kind of goes back to elements of part 1. And the fact that they took this script called Simon Says, which was not a Die Hard script, and they turned it into a Die Hard script, and then they made the villain Hans Gruber's brother. It's fucking genius. And I remember watching this in the theater. I was like a senior in high school when it came out. And no one knew. It was such a twist. Because back then you couldn't, trailers were good. And there was no internet to really like fucking fuck everything up for you. So I just remember the theater going, oh my God, it's Hans Gruber's brother.
Now, do you want to tell me what the hell this has to do with me?
The name Gruber mean anything to you, Lieutenant? He's Hans Gruber's brother.
And then, of course, you get the amazing Jeremy Irons. So if you're going to have somebody to kind of match the charisma of an Alan Rickman in a very different way, they don't act anything alike. They don't look alike, but they're both just like smart ass villains that have their own things about them that you kind of like about them. You kind of sympathize with them, not by what they're doing, but just because you're like, I want to hang out with that person, maybe just once. Like seeing McClane in the sewer in the tunnel, and it expands the scale for the first time in a Die Hard movie. This was the one where it's like New York City is now like kind of under this terrorist threat, but then again, another cool twist is you find out it's not even a terrorist threat. It's a heist. It's a hoax to pull off a heist. And it's great writing because you don't see it coming. And to me, I said this to John when we did the best of our Bruce Willis thing. This is the last time. I still love McClane in 4, but this is the last one where he's like down in the dumps, and like you first see him, he's hungover, and he's wearing the signature wife beater, and he's like swallowing a bottle of aspirin. You're like, that's the McClane I know. 4, he's still McClane, but he's more like, put together and stuff, so. And that entire like 35 minutes on that boat is some of the best directed action fucking ever. It's so good. Fuck, I haven't even mentioned Samuel L. Jackson, who's just such a great. You finally get like a sidekick who's just not on the phone with McClane, who's actually there, and willing to do all this crazy shit because he's a good person and he wants to do the right thing and he wants to look after his community. Plus, this is the funniest Die Hard movie out of all of them too. Like, it's just got the best comedic dialogue. I love Die Hard 3. It's so good. It's that I love 2 as well, John. I love all 4. 5 is not a Die Hard movie. That thing sucks. It's nothing. But if you're gonna talk about 1 as being this like perfect action movie, it is. I also think 3 is as well.
Well, and going back just to now that we've covered the trilogy.
Yeah. Hey, Ben, do you have
Die Hard
on your list?
Die Hard 1 is my favorite Christmas movie. Die Hard 2 is my second favorite Christmas movie. Die Hard 3 is my favorite Labor Day weekend.
No, that
movie.
takes place in August. It takes place in August, sir. It takes
But
place.
school's in.
I can't believe
3.
in the same number we all hit 1, 2, and 3 diehards.
And again, mine's not really in the order other than like the years they came out, but
Don't take this away from us, John.
no,
We just hit a slot
Yeah,
machine
hey,
of Die Hard.